welcome to another episode of the Guy Code. I'm Rena Oswara. Now, guys, on this first episode of 2023, we will be covering this topic: his house, her house, living together as a couple in Kenya. Now, guys, we have covered this topic before, introduced it in a former episode called Cohabitating Couples in Kenya about 2 years back. I encourage you to check it out if you haven't had a listen. And on this episode, we're going to delve into more insight on the very important subject. Now, getting right into it, guys, during the dating season, it is very important for you to identify her habits when it comes to the following issues. Number one, you need to understand her level of hygiene, her cleanliness, right? So, does she clean her living space on a daily basis or a weekly basis? Is she the kind to do her dishes every day, twice a day, or every other day, or just let it pile up and do it when she finds convenient? Now, guys, we definitely know the importance for you as an individual and as an adult generally to have a sense of responsibility for yourself and for your living space, and to just have a high level of hygiene for yourself as you present yourself and when you host people in your house, your home, your living space. So we know as guys the basic skills of cleaning, having a clean space, just tidying up where you live is not a feminine characteristic. It's just an adult characteristic, right? So since the people I will be speaking to right now, and I am speaking to, are men who understand the value of cleanliness for their own living space, I believe so, you definitely deserve a lady who also has the same values, because you can't imagine living in a place or living with someone who only wants to clean the kitchen, clean the sink, when there are absolutely no utensils left to serve on, and you are used to cleaning the dishes just after you use the particular dish. That's not the kind of space just from the jump that you want to be in. So the number one thing you need to identify as far as her habits, just during the dating phase, just when you're getting to know this person, before you actually get into each other's houses, or consider rather living together, you need to identify how are her habits when it comes to hygiene and cleanliness. Number two, you need to identify her habits when it comes to hospitality, or as far as hosting people, inviting guests. There are some of us guys, I would say mostly myself, I like to have my own space, and I hardly invite anyone over, right? And I would say my house is not the quote-unquote hangout house in the friend group, right? But the situations where I'm required to host, or I feel like hosting, you definitely do a good job. But generally, I would say that my living space is not the kind of living space that, people just pop in after a night of hanging out and drinking or whatever, right? So you need to also identify your lady. Is she the kind to invite guests over? Is she the kind to make her friends comfortable, knowing, hey, this is so-and-so's place, we can always crash there anytime, and, the door is always open? If she has an open door policy, and she has always had that, so when she moves in with you and her friends understand now she's living with you, they will assume that you are the same way, or at least you're okay with it, even though you might not be, right? So you need to understand, if you are dating what these ladies call a social butterfly, who likes to have people at her house often, and they can come in at any time, you need to identify that, right? Even neighbors, not just friends, even neighbors. There are some individuals who are just very open with their neighbors, say, hey, you can come through anytime. Sometimes the neighbor just, wants to leave their kid. When they're going for an errand, they know this house is the place to do it. So if you are dating this kind of lady who is very welcoming, even when you're dating, she's like, oh, let me get back home. I'll have some friends coming over. I have some girls, whatever, doing whatever. You should just picture in your mind that most likely when you live together, these friends will have the assumption or be inclined to believe that it's also okay to show up at your place, without prior giving notice, prior notice. Yeah. So, second thing you also need to get clarification on. The third thing is her lifestyle and her hobbies, right? These are quite a general one, I would say. And you need to understand, how does she usually conduct her leisure time when she's just chilling at home? Is she the kind to just snack everywhere, on the bed, in the couch, wherever, and just leave things as they are? Is she, maybe these days, many ladies who are stoners who smoke marijuana and they smoke it indoors? So should you expect, your lady will definitely be smoking indoors, and you get used to that smell of, kush in the house, So also, maybe she involves herself in other activities that take up some space, For example, there are some people who also like to work out in the house. And you like the arrangement of your space in a certain way. Now, you have to accommodate some of her stuff in your space, that maybe one part of the sitting room or whatever is dedicated for her yoga. That's where she does her yoga. Are you willing to give up that space and accommodate, her in that way, so that she can participate in the things she likes to do? So, also there are some people who have hobbies that can get quite messy. I know there's some ladies who actually like to paint. I think I've actually dated a painter once who like to paint, and it can get quite messy. But these artsy people, when creating the final product, it can get messy, whether it's art, whether it's painting, whether it's pottery, whatever. You should definitely consider that. You should definitely consider her lifestyle choices, her hobbies. What does she like to do, and how will that really affect the space that you two will be sharing, right? Maybe she likes also playing instruments in the evening. You like your evenings quiet. That's your quiet time. She likes to play instruments and practice on her instruments. Are you willing to accommodate that? Definitely need to get into that. So these are just three things that, first of all, just from the dating phase, when you're dating, you need to first get to identify and address, take note of, in considering this person that you may want to live with you and share living space with. So that's first and foremost, get to know these three issues. Secondly, I'll say, when it comes to living together, guys, I really want to stress that you should do it at your own pace and on your own terms. Do not let someone else dictate when they will or will not start living with you. And guys, we definitely know that living in Nairobi and could be the same in the other parts of the world. There are times where ladies tend to subtly begin moving in when she leaves some few of her belongings in your house. Then she goes back, then she comes back for another 2-3 days, weekend, whatever, leaves some more stuff at your house. It's a subtle and gradual moving in, right? So we know how that happens, and by the time you know it, she has half her stuff in your place, and she might as well just bring in the rest of it to complete it. So guys, it's very important for you not to find yourself in a situation like that, and now you already feel overwhelmed and like, hey, I wasn't really prepared for this whole, move-in, this whole next step, right? So since you are not mentally prepared, now you begin resenting that, hey, now immediately I have to start already factoring in someone else in my living space, because prior to that you were just okay, comfortable seeing her maybe 2-3 days in a weekend or every other weekend, right? So guys, it is very important for you to take charge of this season and participate, right? Do not be passive about it. Participate in it. Be very aware when your personal space is getting invaded, and if you have boundaries at that time, you should definitely make them very well known to her. So do not fall for the subtle, gradual, sneaky moving in. Also, do not fall for the ultimatums. There are some people who say they can bring out some ultimatums, or I think we should, because, since we're going to get married, blah, 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 we should start living together because of this. Well, you should definitely not fall for any form of manipulation. You should definitely fully participate and be aware as all these things are happening, since it is your living space and you want to take full charge and control of it, right? Thirdly, this third one is quite an amusing one. Guys, if your place is really nice, and this will definitely relate most to the Kenya Nairobi listeners. If your place is really nice, right, she will definitely wonder who else you have brought to that space, or she will wonder how you maintain it. There are some ladies who definitely think that most men are slobs. I don't know if it is from their own personal experience or what it is, but there are some men, or some ladies rather, who really believe that there are no men who will definitely take the effort to make sure that their living space is spotlessly clean, right? So when you invite them over and they see how your living space is spotlessly clean, you have an arrangement to everything because you're not an ordinary man, they'll be wondering, okay, who does this? Who does all of this? Because growing up, I've never seen a man who really took charge of their own cleanliness, right? So expect that to happen. In fact, there's sometimes that there are ladies who could actually bring up, the subject that since your place is really nice, you definitely should be inviting a lot of ladies over often. For the Kenya Nairobi listeners, you'll definitely have heard this statement before. It's like, huku ndio unaletanga tumalaya twako. Easy translation is this where you bring your hoes, So sometimes the ladies will be thinking, okay, this is a real nice place. Definitely he brings a lot of women here often. Having a man with a strong frame and respecting your own space, I doubt you will be doing that, because that's your own space. Your living space it's yours. It's not a club or a brothel, right? So expect that some of the times, even though you definitely are putting your best foot forward to give the best impression of how you're living, she might not take it in the best way, and will begin as making allegations and assumptions. So expect that to happen sometimes. I've actually experienced that myself. Fourthly, guys, I encourage you to really take note of the items she brings if she has the intentions of coming over and, making herself comfortable, right? So, guys, when she's coming over and she is in the process of moving in with you, right? Pay attention to the items she brings, or sometimes when she buys, because ladies, they may definitely need more items than we do. Sometimes guys, as we just get to wing it and we like, okay, as far as kitchen appliances, we need some basic 2, 3, 4. She might want, you don't just need the stove, you need the air fryer, you need all this stuff, right? And she might decide to purchase some of this stuff and have them at your place for her use and yours. So, guys, be very careful and vigilant with what she brings, because if you break up, in the case you break up, of course, we're not being sadistic, but in the case you break up, she will most likely take all the things that she bought and came with and leave with them. So, guys, if you are used to the convenience of maybe an air fryer, and one day she just says, you know what, I'm done with you, and she picks all her stuff and goes, including that air fryer you began to really enjoy, or the blender, whatever, then you'll be left stranded, and for your own convenience, you might consider bringing back someone who is actually toxic for you just because she brought in that convenience in your life. And this is not just for guys, this is not just for also items, also as we're talking about in the other point where we discussed that it's very important for you to have your own skills as far as maintaining your house, maintaining your living space in your home. If you're bringing your lady who is a very good cook, right, very clean person, has impeccable hygiene standards, and now you get used to the comfort of having someone who will always cook the best meals for you, clean your place, clean your laundry, and now she threatens to leave because of the convenience and the comfort you're accustomed to due to her presence, you might definitely think, oh, you know what, let me just brush off some of the things that she has been doing that I do not align with and that we never agreed upon in the beginning, just because, she provides this comfort to me. Guys, as far as the masculinity and growing up as a man, we definitely know that comfort can be very deceiving, and we do not want to be deceived by the comfort of having her, even though she might have some venom with her that will end up destroying you in the long run. So it is the worst case scenario to really sacrifice your long-term freedom and peace of mind just because you wanted some temporary comfort that you could easily provide yourself if you just got to understand skills like she got to learn. Lastly, guys, I want to say that for most of the time, living together is a trial run for marriage. And I encourage you guys to stipulate a specific season and a time frame you want to live together, right? Before officially having her as your spouse. There are some who advise that you take at least 2 years with a person before you consider getting married to them, because those 2 years you'll get to definitely understand this person in different facets and seasons and situations. and get to know their character and personality and their principles, even tested. So there's some who say 2 years, there's some who say, a year. All depends on how you process or learn or get to understand this individual, how you get to evaluate her as an individual and get to consider whether she has the attributes you want in a life partner. So guys, on this last point, I just want to say that don't let this living together become a permanent thing. You permanently stay at that stage. Like, it's like permanently staying as a fiance and you're not marrying this person, right? Have a stipulated time frame. It helps you and it helps her, right? Because if within that time frame she has not, been the kind of person you want, and you also, maybe also generally you understand that your chemistry will not work out, it's better that you get to break it off earlier and let her find the kind of person that she might be better attuned with and pair up with that is not you, and you also get the chance to find someone else. So it's best you actually have a time frame for this, right? Me personally, I say 6 months, 5 months. Evaluate this person. If you're not working well together, you're just like, you just have to let her go and find someone else. Save her time, save yours, right? That's what I believe in. You definitely can give your feedback on this last point, but this is what I personally believe in. So these are just the 5 points I wanted to share with you guys as far as cohabitating, living together as a couple, particularly in Kenya. Guys, if you have any feedback, insight you want to share on this particular subject, you can definitely reach out to me through my Twitter DMs at GuyCodeKenya. Definitely enjoy your feedback. In the year 2023, we will be having more conversation and dissecting more topics that will be beneficial to us as the manosphere and us as individual men who are going through the journey of self-improvement. So, guys, until next time, we shall talk soon. Bye.
Guy Code with Rena Osware.